It's Fallon with Orange Coast Title, and I, after many requests, am going to go over the seller's upfront escrow package. And this is an upfront package that I send out on all of my sale transactions to get information from buyers and sellers upfront to help facilitate a smooth closing. So this is the seller upfront package that we're going to go over, and this is our cover letter. So this is what's going to come first on top of the package, which is going to have all of our information and say, thank you so much, we have a new escrow for you, and it has all of our information, contact information. The next form is our seller information sheet. This is probably one of the most important sheets that is in this package that we need to get back. It has all the information and line items that we need for the existing mortgage payoff information, HOA information, and anything else. Social security numbers also go on here, and the sellers are going to sign the bottom, which authorizes us to request the demands on their behalf because, again, reminder, I'm just a neutral third party. So I have to have authorization and instructions to request demands. In addition, HOA information is not something, believe it or not, that is provided on a preliminary title report. The sellers, the people who own that property, need to provide the HOA information and the management company contact information so that we can request HOA demands and documents which are required to provide to the buyer through the closing. So that information sheet is the second document in that package. Then we have our disbursement mailing instructions to escrow. This is also probably the most important to the sellers because this is how they're going to get their money. So we need to know, do you want it wire transfer? Do you want to pick up a check? Do you want us to overnight it? Do you want us to mail it? Is it going to another title company? Are they buying another house and we need to wire the money to that title company? If that's the case, then they're going to fill all this information out, sign it, send it back to us. They can also have that other title company, if that is what is going to transpire through our closing, proceeds being wired to another company, then they can have those wire instructions sent to me, and I will then make note of it. They'll complete this information, so we also have that in the file with instructions to send to the other title company. But all that information will be there. Phone number, email address as well, contact information in case we need to reach them throughout the closing. Then we have the certification of non-foreign status. This is also known as the FIRPTA, and this is a document that is required per that CAR contract for us to provide in the broker packages as well. So we've got to have this information. It states the seller is not a foreigner. If the seller is a foreigner, there are additional things that I will need to provide to the seller through our closing. If that is the case, then you need to notify me as soon as possible. We'll cross that bridge if that is what's going to happen and our seller is a foreigner. If they are not, then they're going to complete this form, sign it, and send it back. The next document is our certification for no reporting. This is also for the 1099. So these are instructions. There's some yes, no, true, false type questions on here. If you as the seller have a question regarding this form, your real estate agent and escrow officer, myself, cannot provide tax advice to you. So I recommend and suggest that you contact your tax advisor, your CPA, the person that, if you've got a person that helps you with your taxes, or H&R Block, something like that, they can help assist you with answering this if you're unable to and you've got some more questions that you need answered. But that form then you would complete, sign at the bottom, and send it back. This is the withholding 593 form. So there's a booklet that's provided in this packet, and this is probably one that I get a lot of questions on. And I'm going to grab this booklet out here so that we can go over it. But it is a booklet. This just states that if the property is not the seller's principal residence, it's subject to 3 1/3 withholding tax. That is standard on all sale transactions, and it's important that you guys know that. So if the property is a principal residence, you're going to complete the top form, you're going to check the appropriate box that states it's a principal residence, and then you're going to sign and send in this form. You don't need to do anything else with the booklet. If it is not your principal residence under these guidelines, then, and none of the other boxes apply, you're going to have the 3 1/3 withholding tax through escrow. If there is a loss or zero gain on the property, which sometimes happens, that was really common not too long ago, but when that does happen, then the 593E is the form that you would complete. And again, this is also a document that if you have questions regarding this, you need to talk to your tax person about this. Your real estate agent, as well as myself, your escrow officer, cannot give tax advice. So this form, if you are unsure and unable to complete it on your own, you would need to make an appointment or talk to your tax person about how to complete this. But this would then be required if there is a loss, so that we know how much to withhold for you for tax purposes. And that's for the franchise tax board withholding. Then we have the buyer notification. So this form, buyer and seller both actually sign this, and this states that if the property is not a principal residence, it's subject to withholding tax, and the parties need to acknowledge that through our closing. We also then have a statement of information. A lot of people kind of ask questions, oh, do you really need this form? We do. It's in here for a reason, and here's the reason. There are so many people and so many common names, even not common names, where there are abstract judgments that are filed on a daily basis that I don't even know the number, but I know it's outrageous. This will help clear any possible potential things that may pop up on our date down at the close of escrow. So if we have all this information up front, and we know and we can clear that there are no potential liens or judgments against this person, that's going to help eliminate things down the line at closing. If we've got a buyer, John Smith, and I'm sure there's going to be something that pops up because of the common name, we can go through and identify the fact that, oh, it's not our party. Here's why, because we've got this information here. So it helps. So you can complete this form. That does need to come back with it as well. Then we have general provisions, which this is also part of the car contract that buyer and seller sign. They all have to sign and acknowledge our general provisions within a certain amount of time. And this just states that, we're a neutral third party. We take instructions from buyer and seller. All parties have to be in agreement to close the escrow. I'm neutral, so I take instructions, mutual instructions between the buyer and seller. And it goes over if the property is not a principal residence, if the seller's a foreigner, goes over withholdings, good funds law, things like that. It's our standard general provisions. Then we have a compliance agreement. This just states that buyer and seller agree to comply with the terms of the contract that have been disclosed in the mutual instructions. If there is any money needed to make the escrow whole, buyer and seller agree to pay those amounts as allocated depending on who they're for. The next form is our privacy policy disclosure authorization that you sign. It states that we don't release your information to the public. So it's just a standard disclosure that's in there as well for signature. So that is the seller upfront package. And yes, I will do one on the buyers as well, but that's for the sellers. And I hope that helps answer some questions, make it a little bit easier to understand. And if there's anything else I can do to help assist with the closing, if you've got any additional questions or need anything else, please feel free to give me a call, send me an email. I'm here to help. I also have 2 fabulous assistants that are here that can answer any questions. And thank you so much for the opportunity to handle your transaction.